Have you ever seen something from the corner of your eye that wasn't there when you looked again? How about hearing from a friend of a friend that while they were hiking somewhere, they thought they saw something improbable, but when they spoke to a park ranger or someone else, there's always a simple explanation that left you just a little unsatisfied. My name is Jack, and this is my colleague Chris, and we are senior wardens for the Creature Conservation Initiative. We protect the world from the creatures of superstition and myth, but more importantly, we protect those same creatures from the world. Hello there, audience. Thank you very much for joining us again. And hello there, Chris. How are you doing today?
Hello. I am actually doing fantastic. I am back in Germany, and actually the weather is bad only half the time, so I am having a summer-ish experience, which I am enjoying very much. How about you?
I'm doing okay, to be fair. I'm back in the UK after a bit of a run around over in the east, and it's not really summer here. It was summer for about 3 days, and then it started raining.
I mean, same here. I'm just hoping that after 3 days, maybe we'll get the sun back.
maybe, but yeah, so there's a good reason why I was over in the east.
Okay, and why is that? I thought you were referencing our last episode with the, what was it called? The KHI?
The HI.
HI. Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
Oh no, the HI, that was years ago. That was when I was a newbie. Oh no. No, the reason why I was over in the east is, again, I know I keep teasing it, but soon I'm going to do probably a series on a very, very specific creature that we keep encountering. Mostly because it seems to be very, very active right now, and I feel like to be fair, I feel like we need to do a public service announcement about it, but that is not today. The main reason why I've been over in the east, though, is because we at the CCI have an announcement.
An announcement? Oh, very exciting.
We have found a new creature.
A new one? Well, that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, it's one that we weren't even aware of. Don't get me wrong, it is in the mythology. It exists, as far as everyone is concerned, in mythology, and specifically Chinese mythology.
Okay.
But we haven't interacted with it until now.
Interesting.
And yeah, it's amazing that we haven't interacted with it, but at the same time, I'm not surprised we haven't.
Okay, so were you actually the first one to deal with one of these?
I was part of the first team. I wasn't the first warden specifically to go and deal with one. One of the other wardens on my team, who was tracking this other creature alongside me, kind of found this in quite an interesting way.
Okay, so it's a second man on the moon situation.
Yes, in a way, although I am team lead, so, as far as I'm concerned, top man.
Of course.
That's not really
I'm
how
not
it works.
sure if your team members see it the same way, but go off.
Well, I'm the only one who's out here telling the public about things. I get to choose the narrative.
Exactly.
That's how it works, people.
Yeah. Used to be that winners write history, now it's podcasters.
Exactly. Especially in something like the CCI. Yeah. But no, without further ado, we're talking about this new creature that we've only just found out about, really. So we won't really know too much about it in terms of science and how it all works, but it's called the Shen.
The Shen? I don't think I've heard of that one before, unless it is somehow related to Shenlong from Dragon Ball.
No, although when I was doing my research to find out a little bit about the Shen, and how it exists in mythology, the Shenlong from Dragon Ball did come up on the Google search.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Well,
but it
I mean, close enough.
it's not directly connected. But what I want from you is I want you to just take a guess. What do you think? What kind of images come to your mind when you think of the Shen?
That's tough because, as you noticed about 8 seconds ago, my mind immediately goes to Shenlong. So in my mind, I'm picturing a long kind of worm dragon thing that floats around the sky, and I don't know.
Yeah, kind of traditional Chinese dragon.
That's kind of my mental image.
All right. Well, how about if I tell you that this is a creature found in the sea?
In the sea? Okay, I mean, that could still work. We could have a water dragon situation, maybe. How wrong am I?
You are quite wrong in terms of what the actual creature is, but you're not wrong in terms of where it's been connected to in the past.
Okay, well, that is very vague.
Yes, I know, and that's the problem. This creature is very vague. There is a reason why we haven't really found this creature beforehand.
Okay.
Because it really wasn't that popular. It's more of a footnote to history. But again, it's very, very interesting to us because we've literally just found it.
Yeah. But apparently it wasn't very interesting to people in the past.
No, but people have probably come across it a lot more often than they would actually realise. And I'll explain why. The Shen is a Chinese shape-shifting clam mollusk type of sea monster.
A clam?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's, I don't know how much further you can get from a dragon, but that's got to be up there.
Well, weirdly enough, like I say, they seem to have connections to the traditional Chinese dragon or the mythical serpent people, the Nagas, that seem to exist in that kind of world.
Okay.
And I'm not sure exactly how they've been connected to them, apart from the idea that it's some kind of shape-shifting sea monster.
How shapeshifty are we talking? Can it turn into a dragon, or can it turn into a different kind of clam or mussel?
Yeah, it turns into a different form of clam. Well, here's the thing, and this is where we're going to have some real fun kind of learning about these creatures, and the science boys are going to be going crazy about this.
I'm scared.
Well, I'm not too sure how much of it is actually a shapeshifter in terms of its shape-shifting abilities.
Okay.
Because they have been very much linked to mirages at sea.
Okay, so you're saying that maybe they don't shapeshift so much as create an illusion, maybe?
That's one of the arguments that I've put out to the researchers.
Okay.
Are they actually shape-shifting, or are they just giving you an image of being a different kind of creature? Are they actually truly physically altering their biology, their morphology? Or do you just see a different creature?
Well, my obvious approach would be trying to touch the different form and see if it can be touched or not. It's probably not that easy.
Well, that's one of the initial kind of tests that we've gone through. But it's also trying to induce the creature to a mirage, because when I say it's a shape-shifting clam mollusk type thing, I'm not talking a small, like, palm of your hand kind of size one. I'm talking giant.
Oh, of course.
We're talking hatchback size.
Okay, that is a different kind of shell than I was imagining.
Exactly. You got to remember, it is a sea monster.
my brain goes to mermaids and stuff in cartoons. They often sleep in kind of giant shells. Kind of like that situation.
I mean, when I first was told about it, when one of our colleagues basically shouted, "We've found something," my mind went to, Pokemon, and I think the Pokemon's called Cloyster.
Of course. Where else would it go?
Especially when he told me the size of it.
Have you tried throwing a ball at it?
I think that test is scheduled for next Thursday.
Okay, perfect.
But yeah, it's a really, really interesting creature in the sense that it's so large. It is connected with like mirages at sea. Specifically, it seems to be able to project landscapes and cities at sea.
Okay, that are some pretty big mirages. I thought we were talking about small illusions here, not entire land masses.
This is why we are really, really struggling with this creature right from the start, and why there's going to be so many investigations being run over the next, few years as we try and learn a little bit more about this creature. Obviously, again, this one that we have found specifically, we've left this one wild. We're not containing it as far as we're aware. It doesn't cause any actual damage, or it's not causing any nuisance or being a nuisance to the public. We are, though, obviously cordoning off the area so that we can perform our various tests and all of that, learn a little bit more about their kind of preferred habitat, and find out where, if we need to start containing them for whatever reason, what kind of environment we need to create for them to be comfortable. But like I say, right now, this is a low-level nuisance kind of creature that we are handling until proven otherwise.
Okay, so do I understand you correctly that it's just this one that we found?
So far, it appears to be this one that we found.
Okay. Are there supposed to be multiple, or is it one of these unique kind of things?
Based on the information from history, because again, obviously you can tell we've got researchers going left, right, and centre everywhere right now, combing every.
I was wondering what's going on at base. They were running around like headless chickens.
Yeah, you'll have seen half the research staff going absolutely mental. A bunch of the more junior members who are looking to move up and start writing things like their theses on certain creatures. A bunch of them have just gone absolutely ape and just started loving this. They've got the chance to become the expert on something completely brand new.
Yeah.
But when it all comes down to it, we're looking into every source that we can find. It's going to take a little bit of time for us to collate the information. Once I've done, I'll be sending literally the notes I've got for this pod over to the research guys. I'm sure they've obviously already got this information, but it's that kind of thing. We don't know anything about it, therefore we're scrambling for any information. And the myths and legends seem to suggest there is more than just one.
Yeah. One obvious question is, how did we find it? I mean, even if it's a giant clam, the ocean is a pretty big place.
Again, one of the things we've been doing recently is tracking this other creature that, again, I don't want to reveal too much information about it until I do the actual episode.
You're such a tease.
This is... I feel with the other creature, I really, really, really need to be careful about how we reveal information about it.
Okay.
Because
it
could cause a panic.
Yeah. Even saying this could probably cause some mild panic, but,
Yes. Don't worry, people. You're probably safe.
Yeah. Everything is fine, probably, maybe.
Sometimes. The...
Asterisk may not actually be fine.
Yeah.
No, it's fine,
maybe.
Really. maybe.
But but yeah, our team was obviously tracking this other creature, and like I said earlier, they are masters of mirage.
Yeah.
They appear to create landscapes, landmass in the middle of the sea, and one of our guys basically went to, park up. Is probably the best way to put it. He went to moor his boat on a landmass that didn't exist.
Oh, well, that explains it, I guess.
Yeah, and obviously I've got a little bit more of a story myself a little bit later on, but again, we can get to that in a bit.
Yeah. So this must be some pretty convincing mirages if you can, drive right up to it and try to land.
Yeah, exactly. They seem to be really, really convincing and very, very well put together. And that's why I think people have probably encountered these a lot more often than they actually realise. You're on the coast of China or East Asia or anywhere around the world, because who knows where these creatures actually come from. Well, we know they seem to appear around China. They seem to be appear around Chinese mythology and Chinese texts from the past. But we don't actually know if that's just where they stay, if that's just where they've been noticed.
Yeah.
Is it just Chinese sailors who have kind of noticed them? But that's irrelevant for this part. When it comes down to it, imagine you're at sea. You've been at sea for quite a while. You're looking, you're trying to make it home, because again, a lot of the texts were from kind of the Middle Ages, that kind of time. You're low on rations, or you're low on water or food, or anything, and you're just looking for anything to do with home. We've all heard of people in those situations, dehydrated, noticing like mirages in various locations. I suspect a lot of people have even shipwrecked because they have gone searching or gone and been tricked to find this place.
Might very well be. Yeah. I mean, especially in the older times, anything that messes with your navigation at sea is going to be quite dangerous.
Exactly. I mean, you didn't have GPS in the Middle Ages.
Exactly. So is this why they do it? Is it to attract people as prey or something? But then again, you said they didn't seem to appear dangerous.
Well, I mean, so far they haven't tried eating anyone on our team, and none of the old Chinese classical texts have said anything particularly dangerous about these creatures. When it comes down to it, classical Chinese texts have used the word Shen to describe large bivalve mollusks, oysters, clams, mussels, just a descriptive term for these various creatures, so not very dangerous. They have then kind of moved on to talking about oysters, clams, and mussels that appear to have magical uses in funerals and sacrifices, and classed them as Shens.
Okay.
And then, as the years have gone by, the Shen has turned into a massive mythical giant oyster or clam that produces huge magical pearls. So again, we're kind of moving on a little bit. So this might be, as time goes on, boating technology has advanced, and people can get further into the sea where they might be coming across these kind of creatures.
Yeah.
And then by the Middle Ages, the Shen was seen as a giant sea monster, this massive creature that we see now.
I mean, to me, it sounds a bit like even they didn't really know what they were talking about, but...
Yeah, I agree. They had no idea what they were even interacting with.
Interesting. So how long have we been watching this thing? Have we seen what it eats, what it does?
Currently about 3 weeks.
Okay. You say it's not shown any signs of danger so far, but it always makes me nervous when there's a huge beast with some kind of borderline magical illusion powers that we don't know what it wants and why it does the things it does. It just kind of makes me nervous.
Yeah, it makes us nervous a little bit too, and so far the only thing it ever seems to really do is blow very large bubbles.
Of course it is.
Yeah, but the funny thing is these bubbles appear to be how it's creating these illusions.
Oh. Okay.
You know, this seems to be how they create their illusions.
Okay, so it's sending up a city bubble and that pops and creates a city on the surface. Is basically what you're saying.
Something like that. We don't know. We don't know the mechanism behind it. We don't know if it's pheromones. We don't know if it's some kind of gas that it's releasing that interacts with various, light effects within the atmosphere. But there has been one of our guys has kind of connected them with a specific type of mirage called the Fata Morgana mirage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's a complex, superior form of mirage that only seems to appear as a narrow band right above the horizon. So again, if we're talking, like we were saying earlier, it's you're a traveller at sea, you've been out for a long time, you're starting to get low on provisions, and you just see this landmass or this city appearing on the horizon that you start heading towards. That's when it could potentially be dangerous. That's when it could potentially start luring people to their doom.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, one of our current theories is that maybe it does do this on purpose. Maybe that is part of its hunting technique. It entices creatures over to an area. They, ships sink. The birds or various animals die from fatigue or something, and it basically acts like carrion. It eats the remains. But again, we've not found. I mean, obviously, we haven't tried feeding it people. The ethics committees won't let us do those tests. Absolute spoiler sports.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that is kind of pretty much all we really know about it, apart from one last interesting feature. They appear to be green, or at least the one we found appeared to just be green.
Okay. Well, that's nice, I guess.
I personally think if you've ever seen videos of like the deep sea, seabed or anything like that, it tends to have that kind of like greenish, yellowish hue to it. So I think it's probably a camouflage mechanism.
Yeah, makes sense. I'm wondering, it's creating these illusions, and they are apparently so real that they are fooling all of us. That makes me wonder, how does a clam at the bottom of the ocean even know what islands or cities are supposed to look like?
Who absolutely knows? It's maybe they've come out on land, maybe they do see us, maybe it's something to do with the signals it sends and we interpret them to something that makes sense to us.
Yeah. That probably makes more sense.
Well, this is the problem when it's something completely brand new that we've never ever come across. But also, that's what makes it so exciting.
Yeah, let's just hope it doesn't kill us all.
Yeah, that's kind of my hope as well. But yeah, getting on to how I've actually interacted with this creature. About 3 weeks ago, like I say, one of my team reported that he was involved in a very, very realistic illusion, and we were all very thrown by this. The creature that we are tracking, or that we were tracking at the very least, we don't, as far as we're aware, it doesn't really do anything with illusions and things like that, but again, it's weird enough in the same kind of area that we just wanted to make certain. So I told him to, hold position, while the rest of us kind of converged there and, from various directions on boats. When we got there, one of my team, she noticed that there was, bubbles coming up to the surface.
Okay.
Not uncommon, sea surf. We weren't a huge distance away from the coastline,
Sure.
but far enough away that waves and various things like that are expected. And I was not 100% convinced when she was pointing it out. I thought it, I don't know, just an air pocket.
Yeah.
Again, the creature we were kind of following was a very large creature. It can disturb the surface of the seabed very easily. Releases air. The bubbles are something I would not be surprised at finding.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't even notice.
Exactly, I didn't notice it. It was, as I say, one of my team, and she did absolutely excellently. After she kind of argued with me a little bit, we were coming to the conclusion that someone probably needed to go down, needed to dive, and look into it a little bit further. But I was obviously very, very nervous because of what we were following at the time. So I didn't want to send anyone down there. I mean, if anyone was going to go down there, unfortunately, it was going to be me.
Of course.
And even then, I was very much of the opinion, I'm not going down there. It's not happening.
You're so eager to be bait at all other occasions.
Well, you'll learn at one point. But we actually got confirmation from satellite imagery that the creature that we were tracking wasn't in this area. It couldn't be anything to do with them.
Okay.
We'd all seen the illusion kind of as we headed in, the mirage. We'd all found, we'd spotted the bubbles. In the end, me, the warden that had spotted the bubbles, and the one who kind of alerted to this all the way, we all donned our diving suits, and we headed down into the water. As we swam down, it was quite dark, I will say.
As the sea is.
Yeah, diving is fun, but it's still quite... the deeper you go, the more nerve-wracking it is.
Yeah.
And
the ocean is a scary place.
Oh yeah, the ocean is a very scary place.
Even if you don't consider any magical super clams.
That's how I'm referring to it from now on. Magical super clam. But anyway, back to the story. We were kind of down there for a good 15-20 minutes, just searching along. So all we really had were basically waterproof floodlights.
Okay.
Pretty much what it was. And like
I say, even those don't do very much underwater.
Yeah, you're not wrong. We kind of just kept on following bubbles. Every time we saw some bubbles, they weren't moving too far, but they were shifting around. Yeah. So we just spent about 15 minutes kind of going down and down and down, and we actually were looking at the seabed for quite a while. And I basically went and rested myself on the seabed. I was getting a bit tired. I've been up for about 24, 25 hours at this point.
Don't tell me you sat down on the super clam.
Not on.
Well.
It's quite surprising when you sit down for a second just to rest and, hand signals to communicate with your team. Just so anyone who has listened to this podcast realizes, I did literally just start doing some hand signals over the image, over the videos, to suddenly remember, oh yeah, this is audio only.
Yeah. Well, maybe Spotify, if you like to sponsor us, we can turn this into a video podcast really quick. Maybe.
But yeah, so I was sat down basically on the seabed, just signaling to the rest of the team, in communication with the people still on the boats, just trying to get our heads around what was going on. And, well, it's really quite surprising when an absolutely massive bubble just seems to come out your butt.
I mean, that happens after chilly nights at the canteen.
To be fair, the two people who were down with me asked if my digestive system was okay. I didn't really notice the bubble until it kind of like rolled up past my back. It seemed like to go over I could feel it kind of going over the back of my head.
Nice.
Which was certainly a sensation.
Yeah. There's nothing you want more than feel unexpected touches at the bottom of the ocean.
Oh god, that's when you start thinking, oh, is it the Kraken?
This is how it's gonna end, huh?
Yeah. Well, goodbye. But another bubble kind of rolled up my back. Basically about a second later. To which obviously we all kind of worked out I wasn't just farting under the sea. There was something there, and as I turned round, we suddenly realised there was a very well camouflaged shell.
Huh.
And we all got very, very surprised. We started kind of observing it for a little while. I sent one of the team back up to start gathering supplies, get pictures, videos, everything. Basically, we just started going, what the hell is this? Someone get in contact with HQ.
Yeah.
Does anyone know what any of this is? And that's when we realised we had found something new to us. And we started the frenzy back at HQ, and we just started investigating. At which point I had to go back up to the boat and start speaking to higher ups because they wanted my report.
Yeah, exciting.
Yeah.
Well, you don't always get to discover new species or creatures or whatever the hell.
Exactly. It's one of those ones where we go, wow, there is still new things even to us.
Yeah. It happens more often than I expect, to be honest.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. But you know what's completely brand new to some of our listeners?
Well, I'm pretty sure a lot of them don't know about our Discord, which we link to in this episode description and in the podcast description and anywhere else that we're allowed to. You can go there to chat with us, to chat about the CCI, about creatures we have talked about. You can suggest new creatures for us to talk about. You can be part of a nice little community where we gather around the magical super clam and share our stories. And yeah, we would be very happy to welcome you there.
Yeah, and it's a wonderful place for you to find out all about our back catalogue and our new episodes, and start having a full discussion about everything that we do. About having a full discussion about everything that we do. And you can start suggesting ideas for new episodes, because between Chris and myself, we have interacted with pretty much everything, or we appear to be finding the new things if we haven't ever seen it before.
Yeah, it's true.
But and if you are listening on any of your podcasting apps or applications or software or anything of your choice, and you have the option to give us a like or a subscribe or any of these other things, why not have a go? Why not give us a chance? The algorithm loves it, we love it, and you might one day get some cookies. Not from us, but you might just get some cookies. It might lead you to get some cookies.
You never know. Cookies may or may not appear at any time.
Yeah, disclaimer is we cannot guarantee cookies, but who knows? They might just turn up in your house.
They might.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it's because you followed us, or you liked us, or you gave us a review, but I'm also not saying it's not because of that. But yeah. I'm trying, okay? I'm trying.
I'm sorry, I didn't know how to continue this bit.
Neither do I. The only thing I can think of saying at this point is thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next time. But in the meantime, goodbye.
Goodbye.